Here's the truth about what money actually does buy. Today's episode is sponsored by Billy Keels Advisory Services. If you want to learn more about how to make your 99 optional, just go to makeitoptional.com. Once again, that's makeitoptional.com.
Helping you build freedom without losing your edge. This is the Going Long podcast with Billy Keels.
Here's the truth about what money actually does buy is absolutely going to be the very brief episode for you if you have ever believed that money solves all problems, especially when you're in a corporate role, you're busy and you're out working more and more hours so that you can earn more money because you are under the belief that that extra money or all of that money is going to solve all of your problems. You will definitely want to listen to every single word of this episode. This very brief episode. And I'll share the reason because, and maybe I've talked about this before, but one of the ways that I grew up, just for my own reason and my own motivation was I watched my parents work multiple jobs so we could live in the right neighborhoods and so that we could have access to the right education. And without them actually saying it, I always believed that because whenever I saw that there were stresses at home, they usually had to be around money. And so I believed that if there was more money, there would be less problems. And so, I heard all the things, and you make sure that you're working smarter and not harder, and making sure that the money that you make, that you're actually saving it, that you're storing it, you're putting them in the bank, all of these things that I start to realize now, these are the types of lessons that even for a while I was perpetuating until I started to learn new lessons, change my mindset. And I started to recognize, like having exchanges and interactions, and realize that, you know what? It's one of these things that there are so many different conversations that even I have, and I hear them all the time. And and I'm going to call them very surface level, like, hey, listen, you want to go out and you make more money. Because I'm spending a lot of time or investing a lot of time speaking to executives that work at big companies, executives, seniors, leaders, right, that are working at big companies. And I hear it all the time. Yeah, I want to make more money. And when I get to make more money, this is going to be able to help me do all of the things that I want. And there's a lot of I understand that's what you want to do. How you're actually going to get there, that's a completely different story. But, as you start to scratch the surface, you realize, okay, money's a part of it. But then the thing that you really want to be able to do is create these lifelong experiences when you break it down, and do that with the people that you love the most when you want to be able to do that, right? Being able to have that freedom to choose what makes the most sense for you. And because I consider myself extremely fortunate, speaking with executives in realizing that aside from making money, it's how do I move up the ladder even more? And the more that you move up the ladder, that you have a bigger team and you have more money and you have more influence and all of these kinds of things. It's really, really easy to get detached quickly between what you want to be able to do, which is create those experiences, and what you're actually doing. And it's easy to get detached from that. And soon you'll find yourself on planes, trains, and automobiles more than you are actually at home. And when that can start to happen, when that happens, or when it starts to happen, or if that happens to you, that can lead down a slippery slope, right? And so one of the things that I've started realizing as I even went through, and it goes back to this whole concept of money and what does money actually solve? Like, I realized early on, like, I was just focused on money too. I just wanted to make more money because I didn't want to have any problems, because I thought money solved all problems, until I realized at a certain point in the level of sophistication that I started to understand what money was, and that it was a storage of value. And it was also this ability to exchange. You can exchange your currency, right? Not money, your currency for more time, or for more access, or whatever the case may be. But the money cannot just be spent and pent up. It has to keep moving. So after these moments of reflection, like, realized, and I don't know when you're listening to this, but just in December, not too long ago, not a couple months ago, I was realizing a lot of the hard work that I had done during my corporate career and focusing on money, but then moving the focus from money to actually what really mattered. There are moments when you can take, like I did not long ago, 3 weeks during winter vacation, and was able to invest that time with my sons, invest that time with my family, with my loved one, with those that I wanted to be with the most. And doing that for 3 weeks over a break, right? As someone who was previously in the corporate world, that would have never, ever, ever happened. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I realize that, yes, money is important. Anybody that says money is not important never grew up watching their parents work multiple jobs, never grew up having to struggle financially. And, better for you. But the reality is there's so many people that actually have watched that, and as a result are working their butts off every single day and maybe focused on not exactly the right thing, which is why this episode is here. Because once I put together a very specific plan, and the plan was to actually make my currency, what I said earlier, my money work, but work for me, not just work to just have more money, because there has to have a purpose. Your money has to have a purpose. And so once I was able to come up with a very specific plan to have a destination goal for the money that was being made, or the currency that was being made, it was about how can I create more moments, exactly like the ones that I just told you about. 3 weeks of vacation in the wintertime, which would have never happened during my corporate career. And also being able to do it. So here's the thing, being able to do it without having the feeling of guilt, or having the feeling of I'm not going to answer my phone. And if my boss calls, or if my client calls, or if somebody else calls, not living with any of that guilt. That's the thing. Of course you can go and you can hide and you can not answer your phone. But when the moment that you're eating yourself up saying, I got to get back to this client, I've got to get back to my boss, it's a different feeling. And that's what we're talking about. And I'm not saying that there's not going to be moments when you create your plan that you come up with moments of discomfort, moments where you feel unfamiliar with being able to be away. But you know that it's there. You know that probability, that possibility is waiting for you. You just have to come up with the clear plan, very similar to the plan that I put together. Now, it took me a number of years to do that, less than a decade, but of my 26-year corporate career, the last 4 years, I was going to the job because I wanted to, not because I needed to. So I realized that the money, yes, it was important, but it was not the most important. And that's why I say this is the truth about what money actually does buy you. Money doesn't just buy you more stuff, right? Because once you get to the other side, of course, you can do sporting events with your family, or going on this great destination trip, or even just going to your favorite restaurant and doing it knowing that you don't have to answer the phone, right? Those are the types of activities that you can do. But most importantly, and this is really what I want to help you understand, is that the truth about, what money actually does buy, when you know and understand the role of the money that I continue to call money, which is currency, it is really about helping you to prioritize making time for the experiences with the ones that you love the most, and doing that in a way that is consistent and aligned with your energy, with your behavior. That's what money can buy you. It gives you the opportunity to buy more time. So it's important to, as you understand more about money, that you're releasing that money so that you are able to own more of your time. I think a guy even wrote a book about that, or probably a couple hundred different people wrote books about it. Someone just branded it differently. So that's the real truth about what money can actually buy you. It can buy you more time so that you can use it leverage it in the way that makes the most sense for you, so that you are getting the most out of every single day. And if you know anybody who's ever struggled, like I struggled for such a long time with this concept, money for money's sake, share today's episode with them, help them understand that money, it's not just about earning more money. It's not just about making more money. It's about also being able to leverage that so that you can buy the thing that is the most important, the part of the 168 that every single person gets every single week. And if it's not you, somebody, share today's episode with them, show them that you care. And then after you share today's episode with that person, make sure you follow up with a call, or meet up for coffee, or have a conversation and talk about it. Because you know what? While you're talking about today's episode, taking it from theory into practice, what I'll be doing is I'll be right here preparing for the next episode. So until then, go out and make it a great day. And thank you very, very much.